got this brand new actually, little Honda 500 Rebel. It's on loan while my Cross Tour is being serviced today. Thank you to Honda for the loan, really appreciate it. It's going to be mine for a couple of hours, and let's do a couple of beauty shots and we'll come back for a little chat after that. Enjoy the shots. Okay, welcome back. We'll start from the front and work backwards. The first thing that struck me is this 16-inch front wheel. As you can see, it's got like a balloon style tyre on it. It's a 130 by 90 16 with a Dunlop tyre on it. It's a very unusual handling bike, is the first thing that struck me. I wouldn't say it's bad handling. It's just very, very unusual. I have ridden lots of custom bikes before. In fact, I had a Harley Softail, a Heritage for those of you that are into Harleys, when I was in Florida some years ago. So I am used to this sort of bike. It's very, very, very small. I'm 6'1", and for me it's borderline unrideable. It's far smaller even than lots of 125s that I've owned and ridden. And it really makes it very, very, very uncomfortable for me. The seat itself is quite a good size. It's not a bad size seat, as you can see. The pillion seat, however, is absolutely tiny. I'm not a big lover of brown seats myself. I guess it's in line with the sort of styling of the vehicle. Apologies if the sound quality is slightly less than usual. The microphone's just run out of battery, unfortunately, so we're on internal mic. And it's quite a nice looking little bike. Just got sort of champagne colour, I suppose you'd call it. The rest of it finished in this sort of black paint, which unfortunately seems to mark very easily. So those of you that own these, just be very aware that these do seem to mark extraordinarily easily. There's already a little scuff on the exhaust there from, I assume someone at the Honda garage has knocked it against something. The suspension itself, let's start with the front, is very disappointing. I have to say that, Honda, I'm really sorry. I think it's produced by Biro rather than Shower. The reason why I say that is it just feels like there's springs in there and no damping. If there is any damping effect in there, it's very, very minimal. Compression side is, the best way I can describe it is it feels like the springs that are damping the compression rather than any sort of damper, if that makes sense. It's a very mechanical, metallic feel. I appreciate the bike is pretty much brand new, but the forks unfortunately are very lacking and quite low quality, which is a shame. The engine, however, is fantastic. I can see why these little 500 twins are popular, and it's a good little engine. It's very new, so I'm obviously taking it very easy on it, not pushing it hard at all. I did notice on the way down the A31 I was sat at 65 and it seemed to be revving its little heart out there. It has got a 6-speed gearbox. The gearbox itself feels a bit like a wooden spoon in treacle. It's not a fantastic gearbox. Hopefully that'll pick up as it gets some miles on it, but that's very un-Honda, unfortunately. Gearbox is quite poor. Let's give you a little better look around there. As you can see, the bolts and the cables. I appreciate the camera might be flaring a little bit there, people, because it's quite cold out today. and these DJIs do run very warm, and they seem to mist up a little bit, so I'll try and get a clear image later on for you. As you can see, it's liquid cooled, got a cooling fan in there, twin cylinder, fuel injected obviously, manual gearbox obviously. Service looks lovely and easy, oil filters easy to get to, and the drain plug is obviously on the bottom, so servicing will be lovely and simple. Plugs are really easy to get to, all your adjusters and stuff for your clutch cables, really simple. Single front caliper, single disc. The disc is quite weak, and the front brake as a whole is not fantastic. Again, the bike is fairly new, so that's probably part of the reason that. And I haven't seen this for years. A little steering lock just down there on the bottom yoke. It's effective. It does what it's supposed to do, I suppose. Now the fuel tank is absolutely tiny. This being a little 500 twin, it would be very economical. So that there's enough there for distance until you get uncomfortable, and that's the first thing I'm going to really say I'm struggling with this bike, guys. This is by far the most uncomfortable bike I've ever ridden, for me, at 6'1". The rider triangle for me it's just completely wrong for me. I'm sure those that are less tall than me, and perhaps the female riders or those that are around 5'6" or less, you may find this quite comfortable. I think someone even under 5 foot could ride this quite comfortably. It is extremely small. The rear suspension is unfortunately no better than the front. It's neither damped well, it hasn't any sort of control, doesn't absorb bumps very well. The rear of this bike feels like the suspension there really is just nothing more to connect the swing arm to the frame. Unfortunately, it's very poor. It's got quite a decent travel on it, and I have taken it across some bumpy roads. But again, there's no damping control there of any sort of note. They're adjustable for preload. That's more for when you take pillions and if you're a particularly heavier rider. Chain drive, as let's just try and show you. Again, I'm getting right down on my knees to try and show how tiny this little bike is. It's smaller than most 125s. It's absolutely minuscule. LED lights, and the lights stay on in what most people will call the American style, so the indicators are always on. Looks quite cool. This is not a bad looking little thing. LED front light there. Can't really comment how good the lights are because it's lovely and sunny today. But in sort of a quick conclusion, I haven't got too long because the bike has to be back fairly soon. It's just too small. It's just too small for someone my size. I appreciate for the the shorter riders or the female riders particularly, it'll be absolutely fantastic, and I can see why these are selling really well. They're not particularly expensive. Again, I have to say it's slightly down on quality. It has got some nice little touches. It's got a little Honda logo just tucked under there, which is a nice little touch. Fully LCD little screen there. It is very basic, but not one for me, guys, I'm afraid. So it's not going to be a particularly long or particularly useful video. There we go. See you later.